Eu quero, primeiro, dizer como nós vamos compor o nosso painel. O nosso primeiro panelista se chama o senhor Luiz Idelfonso Simões Lopes. O senhor Lopes é CEO da Brascan, graduado em Administração de Empresas pela Faculdade Moraes Júnior, com especialização em mercado de capitais da Fundação Getúlio Vargas. Luiz Idelfonso possui mais de 30 anos de experiência em mercado de capitais no Brasil. Foi CEO e membro do Conselho Administrativo da Magliano CTVM e Managing Director da Fiat Leasing e do Banco Fiat. Muito bem-vindo.
Obrigado.
Chamamos agora também o senhor Bernard Chaud, vice-presidente do Grupo Tereos, responsável pela política de desenvolvimento no campo de biocombustíveis da Tereos desde abril de 2007. Foi presidente da Unidade de Biomassa e Biocombustível no Departamento de Agricultura da França e participou na revisão do açúcar europeu Common Market Organization em nome do governo francês. Bienvenue, monsieur. Quero algumas informações adicionais antes da gente começar formalmente o painel. No final das apresentações, nós vamos ter um período dirigido aos debates, onde serão feitas as perguntas aos panelistas. As perguntas que vocês tenham, eu peço que sejam encaminhadas. Tem a Veridiana, que está aqui, encaminhe por escrito para ela, ela traz aqui para mim e eu distribuo para os panelistas. Eu vou fazer as perguntas para os panelistas. E as perguntas que, por questão de tempo, não forem atendidas, vão ser atendidas por e-mail posteriormente. Quero pedir duas coisas. Primeiro, que as perguntas sejam perguntas objetivas, não sejam declarações e muito menos discursos. E segundo, que nós temos uma previsão também para os panelistas de ter que terminar aqui por causa da visita do ex-presidente Clinton às 3h, impreterivelmente. Então, queria pedir a colaboração de vocês para a gente fazer a coisa dentro do tempo previsto. Então, quero passar a primeira palestra. Chamamos o senhor Idelfonso Simões para dar o seu depoimento sobre o tema biocombustível como estratégia de desenvolvimento. Idelfonso, faz favor.
So, good afternoon. As mentioned, my name is Luis Idelfonso Simões Lopes. I'm a senior managing partner of Brookfield Asset Management and in charge of the Brazilian operations. And that basically, in Brazil, we operate under the brand Brascan. Veridiana, apresentação. Well, Brookfield, just to start a small summary of our operations, Brookfield is a listed asset management company. We are listed in the New York, Toronto, and the Amsterdam Stock Exchange. We are a global asset management with approximately $80 billion of assets managed for institutional clients and ourselves. We are focused on assets with a long-term sustainable cash flow and high barriers of entry. As is presented here, property is our main asset class, and we are the largest public office property company in North America. We have also office properties in London and in Australia. We have also an important operation on renewable power. We are the largest independent hydro producer in North America and the second largest wind farm. We also have on infrastructure, we are the fifth or sixth largest timber operator in North America. We own the largest transmission line in Chile, basically 85% of the country's grid. And we also have transmission lines in Brazil. We also manage some restructuring funds and public security funds. In Brazil, we are focused on the similar strategy of our parent company. Today we have approximately 14 billion reais of assets under management, so approximately $7 billion US. Like our parent, we operate in property, power, and infrastructure. However, we have a large portfolio of shopping centers owned through $800 million US private equity fund raised in 2006, and also we own 150,000 hectares of agricultural land. We also own the largest publicly listed home builder in Brazil, and also have timberlands through also a private equity fund with 71,000 hectares of pine and eucalyptus. And now, I think part of why the reason I'm here, that we own a lot of agricultural land. We also have transmission lines in Brazil, as already mentioned, and a financial investment bank operation in the country. For those who don't know us, we were born in Brazil in 1899. Despite the fact that we are a Canadian-based company, we were born in Brazil, in São Paulo, with the company was created to build and operate a tramway system in São Paulo in 1899. From this time, the company grew a lot, and in the 50s, the company was the largest utility company in Latin America, basically operating, in addition to the tramway system in Rio and São Paulo, we were operating on transmission, generation, distribution of power, telecom, water, sewage, and gas distribution in Rio and São Paulo, that at that time was more or less 80% of the country's GDP. Since mid-50s, we refocused the company, and we moved our operations basically to real assets. And in the recent years, we have been expanding a lot of our investments in the country in shopping centers, hydropower, and agriculture. We have 105,000 hectares of usable agricultural land and 45,000 of preserved land. From these 105,000, approximately 20,000 hectares are sugarcane plantation, and we have approximately 80,000 hectares available for expansion. Today we supply 4 mills in São Paulo and Minas Gerais states, and our expansion of our agriculture business has been for the areas of Mato Grosso do Sul and Mato Grosso. As most of you know, the sugar and ethanol industry in Brazil continues to be fragmented. We have many owners of over 400 facilities. The large 5 companies now control 20% of the market. And to give you an idea of thinking on the distribution side, the large 5 companies control about 60% of the market. So significant consolidation is likely to continue, along with expansion being demanded by increasing domestic consumption. Recent carbon fuel standards in the U.S. may reduce or eliminate maybe tariff in the future, creating even further growth for Brazilian ethanol, and increasing the industry in 50% in our expectation will require approximately $20 billion of investment in mills and $30 billion of investment in agricultural land, as well additional investments in storage, distribution, etc. We are sure that private equity can play a very important role in the development of this industry. The right private equity manager can play a critical role in aligning the interests of the mill and the foreign investor. Private equity funds used to understand both the domestic industry and culture, and the foreign and non-financial investor can act as the intermediary of that. So private equity managers can advise operators on capital allocation, strategic planning, corporate governance, corporate finance, and additional capital raising. So private equity can help foreign investors and financial investors with investment structuring, tax planning, sourcing the right opportunities, debt financing, etc. Many investors are focused on strategies that are complementary to the operator. For example, some investors prefer land ownership and leasing or supply sugarcane agreements for mills. That is our case. And partnering with private equity on land will help reduce capital expenditures while protecting supply with longer-term contracts. So many foreign investors also like ownership of storage facilities that would once again reduce capital needs with a reasonable lease rate. Some investors are also interested in owning sugar mills, but most of them, without operating experience, are looking for experienced operating partners. These investors will provide capital for expansion of the mills, investment in cogeneration facilities, adding conversion capabilities, greenfield expansions, etc. Partnering with private equity groups will require, of course, some important changes in decision-making process for most partners. We believe the likely request from a private equity investor would include at least board representation, voting rights or veto rights on strategic decisions, executive compensation approvals, exit provisions, and the right to appoint a senior executive, usually the CFO. As an organization, we generally like owning land and leasing or growing agricultural commodities. As already mentioned, our focus is always on real assets with long-term cash flow and high barriers of entry. And in this, I would say that agricultural land, for sure, has the highest barriers of entry as possible. And so we target properties always that can be used for a sugar mill. And basically, appropriate topography and weather conditions and access to waterways, etc., are part of, I would say, our main points for our land investment. We, of course, prefer always owning large properties that we would be available to mills. And we, as I mentioned before, we currently have 4 mills in São Paulo and Minas Gerais that we supply, and we have additional land available in Mato Grosso and Mato Grosso do Sul. I would like to thank you very much. I know that we have the Q&A session, and so I'll be available for you to have any discussion as well. I have today with me today here 2 colleagues from this operation that will be also available for you.